Welcome to Raiders Roundtable, brought to you by America First Credit Union. I'm JT, and I got the corner, the legend, Eric Allen with me as the Raiders are coming off a really tough loss in Denver at Mile High. What could have been for the Raiders, but they come up short here in a game that it's in the division. They got out strong. I think they could have won that game if they built on that early lead.
Yeah, that was ugly, JT.
Yeah.
And we go back a long way, me and you. And I tell you, when you talk about Raiders and the Broncos, having that 8-0 streak, we were so excited about this opportunity for us to bounce back from that Cleveland win, but just not playing consistent, and we're underperforming at this point, and it's very frustrating for all of us right here in the building. And I know guys are going to get to work today and try and figure out a way to bounce back against these Steelers that are coming in town.
All right, let's look at your three big things here, and one thing that jumps out is another rookie quarterback that the Raiders are struggling against. What's that about?
Yeah, you know, when you talk about, young quarterbacks, you think you can kind of box them in. And that's the important aspect of playing against a younger quarterback, is you know that they're going to not have all the necessary tools in their basket. But they were able to find a way with Bo Nix to be able to keep him from sitting in the pocket. So these are the things we start to see, right? We start to see those quick passes, which basically are extended sweeps. The missed tackles show up. And the one thing that continues to happen with us, with young quarterbacks, is you see the missed tackles. And it doesn't matter if you turn on film a young quarterback of this year, of 2022, 2020, JT, 7 quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, have beat us, right? And so there's really, the answer to that is being able to make those guys play, with their left hand, so to speak, to make sure that they're not doing things that make them comfortable, that they're not outside the pocket where they can kind of see where the receiver, if he's open, if he is, give it to him. If he's not, take it and run. Those are the things that we continue to see with young quarterbacks. We have to find a way to really bounce back from this really devastating loss.
What disappointed me the most was the lack of discipline. The team cut down on penalties under Antonio Pierce, and now they have a game where you look at the mistakes. You touched on missed tackles, but I thought some of the penalties, they were building and building, and they just couldn't calm down and play with poise, which is what this organization is known for.
Yeah, you expect the young players to seize the day, to have their opportunity, and we continue to see that. The first series that Aiden came in, and that was a backbreaker here, where the young players, it's effort. He's trying to, but you have to kind of understand what the situations are when you're in those critical moments and you're facing a football team that is struggling. You can't give them another opportunity to line up and go into halftime with the 3-point lead. So those are the things that we continue to see with these young players stepping up in the holes that some of the veterans are leaving for them because of injury or because they're not really being in the situation to put themselves in the best possible situation to make positive plays. Christian Wilkins went out. And I thought after he went out defensively, we really struggled a lot with stopping the run. So all those things add up to the penalties that really killed us in the end.
They started off strong and had an opportunity to go up 17-3.
Yeah.
And the pick six actually killed them. We'll get into that coming up here in a little bit. But I think after that moment, and you played in so many big games, and we're going to have the MVP, Rich Gannon, in a minute. One play, what happens when one play turns the game around? Because I don't think, and I'm one of the few, I don't think Bo Nix comes back if he's down 14 points, because then he becomes past predictable. And Patrick Graham can kind of look at the game a little bit differently. But I thought a lot of the oxygen was taken out of the Raiders sideline after that play here, and the Raiders didn't react well. Now, I thought the coaches did a really good job to get the game off to a good start. You can talk about the coaches after that play and what happened to the team, but one play, you've been there before. How do you bring the team back together?
Hey, Jay, that's a great point. I thought the design of the game going well. I think offensively, you're doing what you needed to do, very successful. Defensively, getting off the football field. After that play, when you're in the red zone and everyone's on the sideline thinking, hey, we're going to go up by 14 points, this is a great opportunity for this football team to take command of this game here. This may have been a play where obviously you worked in the red zone, and in the red zone it worked every time, so it's almost habit. I'm just going to throw this ball up here, and it's worked every time in practice. We had the defense fooled. Maybe we've run 2 or 3 plays off that particular look that had the defense going the opposite way. And I rolled back, and it's been successful. And I'm not even sure if he saw Brock Bowers on that situation, because the end did a pretty good job of getting his hands up, and you have to find a way to bounce back from that as a football team. But that just shows you how thin the margin in is for this football team to win. We have to play a certain way. The game has to go a certain way for us to be positive. And it just shows you how sometimes one play can affect everyone else on the football field. And after that play, rushing, penalties, everything kind of went the Broncos' way.
Well, Max Crosby had another big game, and he was hurt, right? So Max comes off that ankle sprain. He's not 100%, but wow, the way something about Denver. Something about, everyone has a rival, and you play great against a certain team. Max plays really well against everybody. But as we take a look at what Max was able to do in this game, just the intensity of him coming out there.
70%, JT. He was probably 70%.
Yeah, he's got the shield on in warm-ups, and I'm like, okay,
look
here
at this.
we go. And then look at the pursuit here. And he's yelling at Bo at the line of scrimmage. And
letting them know.
You got to have a player like this, and you want to have multiple players who lead by example. But Max, again, statistically had a pretty good game here. His energy level was high. And the good news is Max is back.
Oh, Max is back. And there was no doubt you were not going to get into doing the sit-ups. There was no doubt you're not going to keep him off the football field against this Denver team. He knew how important this game is. It's a divisional rival here, and he's had so much success against his football team. And you're looking at film, and you're thinking to yourself, with him and Christian on the football field, there's no way they can double both of them. And Max just had an incredible game. And I just wanted to end on a positive.
Yeah.
You know, after almost all this negative publicity we're going to face this week and how the team played, you got to find a way to all play a little bit like Max. We saw Snowden last week in the game on a sack, and he had performed with great intensity. We need that consistency, though, and that's why we want to end with Max, to show you that you don't have to be 100%, but you have to be consistent in what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, and Max is that guy for our football team.
I promise you, he'll be front and center this week.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be
He's got to be out in front of the microphones. He's got to be intense and ready to go. When we come back, the former MVP joins us every week, the great Rich Gannon, to talk about the quarterbacks and look ahead to the upcoming game against Pittsburgh. Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Dude, you're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
it's gonna.
It's gonna be me.
Dude, are you crying?
How are you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough. See your Ford dealer today and celebrate leadership with special offers on Ford F-Series.
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light Silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, There's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
Celebrate 65 seasons of Raiders football. Be a part of our legacy with a special edition brick featuring the exclusive 65-year anniversary logo. Get your brick installed at Allegiant Stadium along with a replica for your home or office. Order now and support the Raiders Foundation, benefiting military and veterans, wellness initiatives, and youth development. Secure your place in Raiders history today at RaidersFoundationBricks.com. Welcome back, everyone. We bring in our MVP, Rich Gannon. And Rich, it really was a tale of two plays, before the pick six and after the pick six. Break it down for us.
Yeah, JT, you and I were just talking, and every play and every situation is different. But, back in 2002, we were really struggling as a football team, and we had lost 4 straight. We went to play Denver on a Monday night, and Brian Griese and the Broncos were driving down the field, and Rod Woodson makes an interception, at the goal line and takes it back to the house. And that was kind of a transformational play in our season. We went on to win 7 of our next 8 games. And that just kind of catapulted us. It got us back into that game. It gave us some confidence and momentum. And so, you and I were talking before the block that, there's certain plays in a game that can get you beat. A block kick is one of them. A pick six can get you beat, and they're different, right? If you're at your own 30-yard line and you're coming out, that's one thing. But when you're at the doorstep, it's just like the air goes out of the balloon. I mean, the emotion on the sidelines from everybody. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, you're thinking we're gonna go up in this game, but another big score. Now all of a sudden, it's a different game. And so that was obviously a huge play. And I think when you look at it, no problem with the play design. Gardner gets his head around and, he gets some upfield pressure from the end man on the line of scrimmage. You got to throw it away in that situation. That's a very difficult throw going to his left. You just can't make that mistake. And that was certainly a turning point in the game.
I tell you, Rich, going back to that play, when you're in the red zone and you have a play that you've worked on in practice and it's worked, you design it and it looks like everything's going to be okay. But when the play doesn't work in the red zone, how does that really affect a quarterback and his confidence going forward?
Yeah, it's a great question, Eric. I just think that, you can't let somebody else's mistake become your mistake. In other words, if the play comes in, or if there's an issue with what we expected, what we thought we were going to see from the Broncos, and it doesn't happen, maybe someone doesn't block the edge right, maybe the route wasn't as clean as you thought. From the quarterback's perspective, it's your responsibility to fix it. It's your responsibility not to compound the issue. It's your responsibility to throw the ball away in that situation. When we're in scoring position, we have extra opportunities, extra shots. I just thought it was just a poor decision. And those are the things. There are going to be physical mistakes, but the mental mistakes at the quarterback position are just so difficult to overcome. And I think we talk about having a clean performance from a quarterback's perspective. We talk about 2 things we can't have. We can't have missed assignments, and we can't have mental errors, and especially in that part of the field. There's 3 things you can't do in the red zone. We talk about this all the time. We can't have penalties, we can't have sacks, and we can't have turnovers. And that was just a bad one from Gardner Minshew. Look, there's a lot of focus on Gardner right now, and that's just comes with the position. But I think there are bigger issues there than just Gardner Minshew.
Rich, -7 in turnover differential. That's been the season. Okay, it's tied for last with Tennessee. When you look at this team, when they turn it over, they don't win. If they can keep it at a break even, they can win games. This is critical going forward, and some of them are mental mistakes and physical mistakes. Talk about this and how Antonio Pierce can try to fix this at practice, because around here, guys are hurt. So the practices aren't going to be as intense as they can be, because you want to get guys healthy and back on the field. So this is a big number that just jumps out at us.
Yeah, JT, I think when you look at the Raiders roster right now, the margin of error is so small, and it's so small for every team in the NFL. This is no knock on the Raiders personnel. It's just, it's not like we roll our helmets out there and we're the best team on the field every week. I mean, we have some challenges like everybody else. But what we can't do is keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And you look at yesterday's performance, 3 turnovers, 11 penalties. It's sloppy football. You're just not going to win like that on the road in the division. I mean, 9 giveaways already this season, which is tied for most in the NFL. They're not good enough to be able to overcome those mistakes. So, it gets back to discipline. Like last year, this team's, particularly after AP took over, was really good in terms of cutting down on the mistakes. Penalties were way down. Giveaways were way down. Takeaways were way up. And that's kind of how the Raiders have to win moving forward. I'm encouraged by what we saw certainly last week. There were some examples of it early in the game. Getting Alexander Madison going a little bit in the running game. That has to happen. I said that coming out of training camp. We have to be able to run the football to have any chance with whoever plays quarterback, whether it's Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. And then not having Devontae Adams out there, there's a trickle-down effect. I mean, you've got smaller receivers. You got, Trey Tucker, DJ Turner. These are 5'9" receivers. And as Eric will tell you, you're worried about the 6'3" guys that can go get it. The 5'9" guys are the short space guys, quick and explosive guys. But they're going to struggle in third down. They're going to struggle down the red zone. They're not going to be able to post up and use their bodies. So, there's a lot of issues right now that they're trying to get their arms around. But what you can't overcome are the mistakes, the giveaways, and the penalties. That has to get cleaned up.
Yeah, Rich, I think you're talking about complementary football, and you know better than anyone that if you have a running game that's going to make your job a lot easier. Talk to us a little bit about the running game and why that's not complementing this passing game and helping this football team keep the defense off the field up to this point.
Eric, it's funny. When you mentioned that, I was just thinking back in the day, like, there'd be times where maybe you're not winning on the perimeter. Maybe, the matchups, maybe you got a Patrick Surtain who's shutting people down. So it's hard. And so, when you hand the ball off and you can get 4 yards or 5 yards, or somebody can break a run for 18 or 19, or you can throw a screen and somebody can make somebody miss and go out the back door for 20. Those explosive plays are missing from the Raiders offense, particularly as it relates to the running game. And it's just so hard in this league when you have your one arm tied behind your back and you have to be, you're one dimensional. And I think that right now, when you look at the Raiders right now, they have to be able to fix the running game. And I think the offensive line has to play better. We talked about this a little bit the last couple of weeks. I think Alexander Madison, my personal opinion, gives him the best chance. I think he's a stronger, more physical back that can break tackles, that can create some yards after contact. To me, and AP said as much after the Cleveland game, that he's going to get more opportunities. I think that has to happen. But it's got to be a point of emphasis, and it's got to get something that's gets cleaned up here quickly, because you're going to see Pittsburgh this week, and they're very difficult to run the ball against.
Yeah, Rich, before we get to Pittsburgh, when we look at the quarterbacks, Gardner's got a really good completion percentage. There's just been big mistakes, and he's more mobile outside the pocket. The head coach is going to make the quarterback decision. That's his call. But Aiden O'Connell could be very accurate along the way there. So Aiden has come in a couple of cleanup roles here. Not really fair to assess him in that spot because the games are both out of control. But when you look at the quarterbacks here, and what do you see as a positive, depending on what happens down the road? Because we know what Gardner can do, but Aiden's the type of guy that could also give you a spark and could be very accurate.
JT, we've had this conversation, you and I, in training camp, and I think it was a very difficult decision for the coaching staff. I think these are two very different players. When you look at Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, what was interesting is you mentioned Gardner Minshew. We know who he is. I think that's exactly right. We know who he is. I think we need to find out more about Aiden O'Connell. I think he did some good things in his first year as a quarterback for the Raiders. Very difficult situation, right? When you fire the coach, you fire the offensive coordinator, you have a new play caller, and he's a rookie, and they were without Josh Jacobs a number of weeks, and I thought he did some great things. Wins over Kansas City with Chargers, Broncos. He took care of the football for the most part, had that, struggle against the Dolphins, but otherwise, really made some good decisions. So to me, it's all about, we got to find out about this guy. I mean, we're going to get into the draft next year. We're talking about, do the Raiders still need a quarterback or not? I think you need to find out about Aiden O'Connell. I think the kid's got some talent. I think he can throw the football. I think there's some toughness there. I just think that, a little bit of it was, he's got a kind of a very calm demeanor, very easygoing guy. I think they're looking for someone fiery, someone who can come in and had some charisma and those type of things. At the end of the day, I think, they're very different. But I think you've got to find out about Aiden O'Connell. I have no idea what AP is going to do. Certainly, I think what happens is this. There's no question in my mind, the intensity around this football team has been turned up, not only just on a local level, but on a national level. Now people are starting to question what's going on there. And what happens is when the intensity and the heat and the pressure is turned up, it's on everybody, but it really boils down to where a couple of people maybe feel a little bit more. And that's usually the general manager, the head coach, and the quarterback. And I think that's what we're going to see here this week anyway. And the press conferences become a little bit more difficult and the questions. And I think the biggest issue is the Raiders have to find some stability. I think you can't, lose one week, come back and win the next week, lose the following week, come back and play really well the next week, and then go on the road and get a 10-point lead and surrender 34 points. I mean, I just think that the Raiders need to take a deep breath and get back to doing the little things that it takes to being successful. And I think sometimes we focus so much on the X's and O's and not enough on the little things that don't require a ton of talent. And I think playing with great effort and energy, practice, and doing the little things. We often say you get what you earn in this profession. When you put the effort in, the work in, we typically see the results on Sunday. So I think this is going to be a very interesting week around the facility. I'm glad I'm not in the building this week. I've been in those situations before.
JT will let you know. JT will be here all week.
I know. But here's what I want to see, guys. I want to see how this team's going to respond. I want to see the leadership in this locker room. I know there's all these distractions with Devontae Adams and his. It doesn't matter to the players in the locker room. They have to find a way to gut it out this week.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wrap it up with this, Rich. I agree with you. You can't win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But you got to beat the Steelers, period. And the Steelers played till 1 a.m, so they're on a short week. That was chaos, that game. And they lose on the last play of the game to Dak Prescott. So that's a wounded team. They've lost a couple now. They got off to this great start. I think Justin Fields is going to give the Raiders an opportunity, and they might make a quarterback change to stay in the game. You got to stop Najee Harris, and you got to hope that the Steeler quarterback has got to beat you downfield, and the Raiders got to show up for that. They got an opportunity to get to 3-3, Rich. I know it's pretty dark around here right now, but 3-3 and having a win at home at Allegiant Stadium puts this team right back in the hunt.
JT, you're right. It would be a huge win, and it'd be a real confidence booster, I think, for everybody in the building. But look what the Cowboys did to them last night. They got some big hits on Justin Fields, and that's going to be key. I think you've got to hit this guy. You've got to keep him in the pocket. You have to tackle him. You got to be disciplined with your rush lanes. Force this guy to function as a pocket passer. He's not great at it. They want to run the ball at Najee Harris and the quarterback, and you can't allow them to do that. I thought Mike Zimmer had a really good plan last night. They kept the scoring down. They got him into third down situations, and that's what the Raiders have to do this weekend.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you. Have a great week. When we come back, we'll hear from the quarterbacks back in Denver as we continue on Raiders Roundtable.
It's in our very nature to find exhilaration in the new, to seek the excitement of the unexpected, an endless yearning to experience what lies beyond the everyday.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough. See your Ford dealer today and celebrate leadership with special offers on Ford F-Series.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Dude, you're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro. Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
it's gonna.
It's gonna be me.
Dude, are you crying?
You're doing it.
You got this.
Yes, this is great.
Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by Coors Light. Choose chill, an official beer of Raider Nation. Celebrate responsibly. 2024, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back to Raiders Roundtable. We got some work to do this week.
Yes, we do.
On these shows, no doubt about it. We got to grind it and roll up our sleeves. We got to run down the Silver and Black show. EA afterwards with Amber and James Jones on game day. And this week, we're going to really talk about Pittsburgh and what it's going to take.
Yeah, got to break them down.
To get to 3-3, which is going to be my hype on the radio.
Right.
All
Has
week
to be.
long.
Has
Better
to be.
believe that. But we got some great programming lined up for you, and we'll get the Raider Nation ready for this upcoming game, which is an opportunity to put a loss behind the Raiders and get ready and prepare for the Steelers, who feel like they're on a really short week. So let's jump in right here and take a look at a couple of things. Here's the quarterbacks immediately following the game, both quarterbacks.
Gardner, I apologize if you were asked this before we all got here, but what can you put your finger on something in particular that you thought that happened today? Did you see it coming in practice? Anything in particular?
No, man. I thought we got off to a good start. And then I killed our momentum with a pick six, you know. And at the end of the day, I didn't do a good enough job giving us a shot to be competitive in the game, you know. So at the end of the day, it's on me. We'll show back up tomorrow, get back to work like we always do, and keep rolling.
Gardner, when Antonio makes the switch to O'Connell at the end of the third quarter, what's your thoughts? What's going through your head there?
You know, is what it is. Try to help the team whatever I can. Try to still be in Aiden's ear, tell him things I've been seeing, and keep providing positive presence on the sideline. At the end of the day, no matter what my role is on the team, I'm trying to help the team any way I can, and you know, as far as getting back in the building tomorrow and getting back to work.
Aiden, but you guys as an offense have had flashes this season, whether it's that fourth quarter against the Ravens, the first quarter today, but you haven't been able to find that consistency. What do you think you guys need to do in terms of taking the next step to get there?
Yeah, I think it's hard to pinpoint one thing. It's why it's a great team sport. There's 11 guys playing at one time, and it takes everybody. And so one play getting behind the sticks, or it's hard to play in third and long. And so I think trying to do our best on first and second down to execute, to with the pass, open up the run, open up the pass in both ways. I think there's a lot that goes into it. And so, like I said, we're just going to watch the film and continue to grow.
I want to give Gardner Minshew a lot of credit there. You could tell he was crushed by that pick six. He owned it. You could tell just looking in his eyes that he didn't feel good about that, but he helped Aiden when Aiden came in.
Well, that's important, and that's kind of what they have to do. As quarterbacks, it's that position. The spotlight is going to be on you when you win, and definitely when you lose. I'm not sure what coach is going to do this week, but a decision has to be made, and we're not good enough to miss opportunities, after the interception on, the penalties kind of killed us a little bit. But there were some opportunities and chances there, after the pick six to capitalize, and we just missed those opportunities, and we're just not good enough at this point. Not playing good from the football, the complementary football is not there. The running game should aid you and give you a chance for your quarterback to kind of settle down after a big play like that. We just weren't able to do that, JT.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, you look at quarterbacks here that want to do their best for the team. The offense has to get going. Let's go to Max Crosby back in the locker room in Denver, what he had to say.
I'm curious, is there anything you can put your finger on, or is it just too much maybe to just put on one thing of what happened today?
We got to watch the film first, but I mean it's complementary football. In this league, you got to be on the same page for 4 quarters plus, and it's momentum swings. We didn't respond the right way in certain situations. We didn't help the offense out in certain situations, and vice versa. So, we talked about it after the game, like. It could have been a totally different game, but it is what it is. We lost. We're 2-3, and we gotta bounce back. So, we just gotta find ways to get better and improve and keep getting better. Focus on the process, and that's what we're gonna do.
The ultimate pro.
Yeah,
again,
he is.
I said it earlier. He's got to step up this week vocally, and he
Yeah.
will do that.
He will,
because a vocal leader is necessary inside that locker room. There's a lot of good players. Some are quieter than others. But Max, I can tell, Max is starting to boil. He's starting to get going here. And Max is playing well, but he wants his teammates to step up. He will lead the way.
There's no doubt. And I think when you start to look at leadership-wise and what this football team needs, it needs a vocal leader, obviously, but it needs a guy who's going to show you the way to get there. And Max is perfect for that situation. Doesn't matter what side of the ball. When you look at him, when you see him play, he's all about getting this football team where it needs to be. And that's to be more consistent, playing complementary football, helping each other out. We know the special team's going to be there. We know Max is going to be there. Christian Wilkins is going to be there. We need more guys on that same type of bandwagon. You love his attitude and the way he steps out in front of the camera. Wins or loss, Max is going to be there. He's going to take the heat, and we know we can always trust that he's going to give us everything he has.
Jackson Powers Johnson, what did he have to say after the loss?
Bigger than offense. I mean, it's been sort of an inconsistent year for the team overall. Win one week, lose the next week's kind of been up and down. How important is it to kind of get out of that and find some consistency moving forward as an overall team?
I think it's important to, not focus on so much outcomes, but getting better. This is the NFL. This isn't Pop Warner football. Every team you're going to play is going to be a great team. So going out there and giving it your best and trying to execute and not, hurt yourself is crucial. And we didn't do that tonight. So we just need to keep going. And it is important to get on a good track, but there's so much to be learned and there's so much to be, adjusted. So we just got to keep doing that.
I hope he stays healthy.
Yes.
Because he's going to be a cornerstone of that offensive line. Very accountable during the week.
Yep.
In front of his locker and especially after the game.
Like how he's playing. And it probably hurts a little bit more for him. That was his college quarterback who put on that performance yesterday in Denver. So that kind of hurts JPJ a little bit more. But I like his attitude. I like how the young guy is flying around the football field and continuing to get better. And it goes back to we're just not good enough at this point to not play at our level best, both as a coaching staff and as players responding to that adversity, which you're going to hear a lot of this week and how we didn't do it correctly. And it's because you don't have the capable players to be able to play consistent. They haven't played enough together to kind of understand the situations that you're in. You're in Denver. It's a hostile place, and it's just not the same old football team that you're going to play. It's the Denver Broncos, and that adds a little bit extra to the mix when you're playing in Denver.
Let's take a look at the AFC West standings now, and Kansas City has a Monday night game against Derek Carr in New Orleans. They're not playing great, but they're winning.
Yeah.
That's really what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
You got to play better and win some games here. The Broncos go to 3-2. They've won 3 in a row. Chargers on a bye week. And then the Raiders. I want everybody to just look at this for a second. If it says 3-3 as we're sitting here next Monday, all is good in the short term. Not saying that this team's going to make a Super Bowl run, but this is the moment to get to 3-3. We said it after Carolina, and Carolina was ugly at home. And that was at home, and that was a home opener. This was bad. The Raiders had an opportunity to go up 17-3, and I think would have won the game. They didn't. You can fix everything in the short term.
Yeah.
Morale, the energy around this team, you got to get Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's banged up. They got a quarterback who struggles. And EA, we get them at home.
Yeah, that's right. And we hope that Raider Nation continue to support this football team. But you're exactly right. Just think about the feeling of our football team 2 weeks ago after the victory in Baltimore and how you're feeling. And now here. So it's up and down. And that's something you can't have when you don't have, the capable players to play consistent football. You're up and down. You have to find a way to play a brand of football that limits the turnovers, that accentuates the big plays and the running game. All those things have to work for our football team to be able to win. It's just not there right now. But this is a great chance for us to get back on that winning bus against those Steelers.
The Raiders haven't played a great game this year.
They haven't.
They had a great quarter,
yes.
A good start in the last game, which was important. They needed a good start. Maybe they put it together against the Steelers and get it done. It's going to be really important that the Raiders react this week professionally, have a great week of practice, and get rolling here. An opportunity to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be wild at Allegiant Stadium.
Yes.
Get your tickets and get out there. Thanks for joining us on Raiders Roundtable.